Whether you desire it or not, whatever is destined for your body is bound to happen. The source of strength is God within you, not yourself or your desire. If the strength pertains to desire, then why is death approaching you even when you are not willing to die? If you cannot utilize your intelligence to discover the self, then what is the purpose of such intelligence? If your learning is true, why doesn't your ignorance disappear? God gifted us with a thinking faculty that is not present in animals. How can we distinguish ourselves from animals if we don't utilize our reason or intellect?
There is no other penance greater than leading a good life. Every person born as a human should do good and forget the same. One who wants to love goodness should be ready to bear any hardship. A good person does not even realize that he is good. By doing good throughout life, all the faults, weaknesses, and sins hidden in the layers of the mind perish, and the path toward Jnana is found. Socrates said, "Goodness itself is Jnana."
Irrespective of any amount of learning, a man cannot become a Mahatma until and unless he realizes himself. Only yoga contains the power to convert a brute into a gentleman. Society recognizes the science of yoga only if it is understood. If a man is not virtuous, he can't gain wisdom or discrimination. A society disassociated from virtue inevitably forgoes its happiness. To get rid of his pettiness, man has to take the shelter of virtue. Only then can he reach the heights of Jnana.
The power that God blesses us with to gain His experience is called grace. All the effort made to attain God's grace is called sadhana. Man's effort to overcome sorrow involves his search for God. God's grace exists forever. Only our wicked tendencies obstruct us from acquiring God's grace. Man can attain perfection only if his efforts are faultless and crookedless. A man conducts rituals to reduce the effect of the planet Saturn but makes no effort to get rid of the planet named ignorance. Man is bound to understand that ignorance converts into sorrow and disease. There is no other violence greater than ignorance.
On renouncing the moral values, any amount of worship, japa, or meditation done by you will not imply devotion. Instead, they constitute demonic devotion. Only the one possessing divine qualities can be called a true devotee. As you can see with your eyes and hear with your ears, you should also be able to think with your intellect. Why did God gift you with a brain if you cannot think? When the brain is not utilized, are men different from animals? Thinking faculty is equivalent to nectar. A man devoid of thinking faculty perishes in every way.
Incarnations and gurus descend onto this earth only to assist man in surpassing the household of ignorance. Even religions took birth for the same purpose. Jnana alone is everlasting. Liberation is indistinguishable from Jnana. Though born with ignorance, we must die with knowledge, or at least in the quest for knowledge. Though our lives commence with weeping, they should at least end in laughter. Man acquires the greatest hardship and incurs the greatest loss if he dies without attaining Jnana.
Ego is the greatest sin. One who does not conquer his ego will undoubtedly get crushed by the cyclone called ignorance. One who decorates his ego can never desire the welfare of society. A deluded person will certainly incur sin. Society can never eliminate ignorance, corruption, and poverty as long as delusion exists within man's heart. Only jnana can release society from sorrow and drive it towards equanimity. As a country needs a financial revolution, a political revolution, and an industrial revolution, it equally requires a spiritual revolution.
Man's luck or destiny does not exist within the folds of his palm but exists in his efforts. Refrain from disassociating yourselves from the ground realities of life in the name of horoscopes. You reap good or bad based on your actions. We are unsure when we will receive the call from God. We must be prepared for it every day, because when we receive the call from God, we don't have the choice of rejecting it. Only they can escape from the clutches of death, who experience the truth through their effort when their body is very much alive.
Only the people with sense control attain the control of mind. Only the people with mind control attain the purity of mind. Only the people possessing pure mind can experience self-realization. Only the people who attain self-realization can perform actions without any expectation of fruit. Only the people who perform selfless work possess equanimity. Without having equanimity, no one can become a jnani. Equanimity is the essence of the entire yoga.
He is a brahmachari who possesses unswerving abidance in the self. Bhishma was not married, but Sri Krishna was married. However, we cannot say that Bhishma possessed the celibacy of Krishna. Mere regulation of external senses does not constitute celibacy. Restraining the external senses does not reveal the self. Sense control is only a tool to attain self-realization. Don't consider marriage a constraint in attaining self-realization. Don't be under the delusion that married people will not attain jnana and bachelors will attain jnana. Isn't our much adored Rama a householder? Isn't our much adored Krishna a householder? How many of our rishis were not householders? Didn't they all attain jnana? Then why do you restrict the word celibacy to a man-woman relationship? Only the ego differentiates between the two sexes, not the self. We are the self, not the ego. The man-woman relationship is only a nervous satisfaction. Even that is merely a thought. Marriage creates attachment or bondage and increases our delusion. Therefore, our elders asked us to think about external celibacy.
He is a Mahatma who knows the source of his mind. He is an Acharya who himself practices and makes others practice. He is Jignasa who is desirous of jnana. He is Mumuksha who is desirous of moksha or liberation. He is a jnani who possesses jnana. He is a yogi who possesses yoga. He is a bhakta who possesses devotion. He is a sadhu who possesses the wealth of sadhana.
Maya tatkarya dehavi mama nastyeva sarvada स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः